The Houston Texans are coming off what I'm just going to call a weird game, and one that doesn't leave a lot of confidence, but they're wasting no time making moves. They're wasting no time doing the right thing following the loss, doubling down on the hard workers on the team, bringing in some new talent off the practice squad, and some good words from a leader at quarterback. So we're going to talk about all that good stuff in this video. But before that, as you can clearly see, hey, me, my buddy Chris, we started this channel a couple years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago maybe now. We are Lions fans, but we started it because we wanted to talk about teams that the national media often ignores. The Houston Texans are absolutely one of those teams. So don't worry, you're never going to see Cowboys content on here or anything like that. But that was just reaffirmed. Oftentimes, I'll just go look for the biggest stories in the NFL. Google NFL news and rumors. And with the teams that we cover on this channel, we cover, 8 teams or so, something like that. We do the Texans. We've done the Browns, the Commanders. We've got the Raiders, the Seahawks. We've got the Bucks, the Falcons, right? And I went through the first 4 pages on Google of results for biggest NFL news, and not one dealt with any of the teams that we cover. The national media doesn't hit those teams, even though many of them won this weekend, even though one of them plays tonight. So anyways, with all of that being said, love talking Texans. I think the Texans might be the leader in the clubhouse for the most videos we've done on any one team on this channel. So let's get talking about some of the things that they did coming off a hard loss in a weird game. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. They have gone out and you have extended a defensive lineman. All right. I'm going to call him Tommy. All right. And if anybody watches Dude Perfect, T-Tone, TT, Tommy. And so here's what we're doing. The Texans, not we, I'm a Lions guy, have signed Tommy to a 1-year extension with a maximum value of $3.3 million through the 2026 season. All right, he's locked in for the long haul. In other words, this year and next. And this is why I love the signing. You look at both Caserio and you look at what your head coach is saying, and it rounds out. Tommy is one of the hardest working players in our building. All right, this is Nick Caserio. He said it earlier this month. Probably one of the most consistent players from the start of the offseason program until now. He started training in February. He's one of the strongest guys on the team. Tommy is a good football player at Ohio State, a 4th-round pick by the Browns. Didn't work out. Yeah, well, guess what? A lot doesn't work out with the Browns. All right? That's unfortunate, but it's true. He's got the right attitude, works his tail off. He goes out there and makes plays. He's been really good to work with. He's taken advantage of the opportunities that they've been provided. We're glad he is here. This is before he was re-signed. All right? This is before he was re-signed. Look, nothing was promised to him in the 1-year deal that he signed this offseason, but expectations internally were definitely high for him. And if you talk to beat writers within the Texans, they would say he was arguably the best interior lineman that you had throughout camp. Then you offered a full-time spot on the roster, and now he has exceeded those expectations. All right, this is now DeMeco Ryans. He said Tommy has exceeded expectations. Tommy, or hasn't exceeded expectation. Tommy expects high things from himself. I don't think there's a harder worker on our team than Tommy. I can vividly remember coming in the building in February after the playoffs, and the first player I see in our weight room is Tommy. He's in there working out, squatting, grinding already. Now, you need that, because you have your quarterback after a week 1 loss saying the following. All right, here it is. We didn't deserve to win that game because we didn't do the right thing, Stroud said. When you come out in the NFL lollygagging and going through the motions, that kind of happens. I think we'll be all right, but I think it's a good wake-up call for us. All right? He also called, after calling the loss a wake-up call, he said, the way we practiced this week, I think we could have practiced better. It's amazing to me that with a head coach like DeMeco Ryans, in the NFL, where you are being paid to play football, that there so often we hear this, and players are being, especially with the world of social media going now, players are much more willing to speak their mind and their belief on what's actually happening. In the past, a soundbite with a quarterback after a game where you don't play hard would have simply been like, hey, you know what? We need to put in a good week of practice. We'll be better next week. Like, that's what it would have been. But now it's like, yeah, we're lollygagging. We're going through the motions. We didn't have a good week in practice. And we are starting to see over and over again that teams sometimes, they just simply don't have it that week. There, for some reason, is a lack of intensity throughout the week in practice. There's a lack of intensity throughout the game. The Texans are the better team on that field than the Rams, and the Rams are a good football team. But I firmly believe the Texans were and can be the better team. They had the lead going into halftime. They were winning, right? Like they were up. I want to say 6 or 9 is nothing. I don't remember exactly, but they had the lead 9-7 going into the half, and you're sitting there and you're like, they're playing terrible and they're still winning. All right, they're still winning, and the defense played remarkable all day, but the offense didn't have it. This is an offense that's absolutely loaded with weapons. They ran the ball just fine, believe it or not, at 4.2 yards per carry. Nick Chubb looks good, but it was the passing game that, quite frankly, just could not get going. And that, especially in the passing game, when you don't pay fine attention to the details throughout the practice week. The passing game is all about timing. It's all about precision. It's all about being on the same page. And if you're not locked in, if you're not laser focused throughout the week, right? If you're not laser focused throughout the week, those are the things that start to miss, especially with how this offense is ran. This isn't a, hey, let's just kind of fly by the seat of our pants and figure it out as we go. This isn't the old school Brett Favre gunslinger offense of the Green Bay Packers. That's not what this is. This isn't the old school Warren Moon gunslinger offense of the Houston Oilers, right? What this is a much more precision passing game in the Shanahan tree. And so, yes, it will absolutely be affected. Another thing that I did want to point out is that you are bringing up Harrison Bryant from your practice squad. This is, that there is an injury. And so the good news is tight end 1 is still available. All right, so you're good to go there. But Harrison Bryant, perfect guy to bring up. Experience. Kind of crazy to me that he's on a practice squad right now and not just active. But Stover got hurt. He's going to be out for a minute. And so Harrison Bryant is going to be a guy that don't be surprised to see with some elevation. So they're wasting no time making moves. They're realizing that there is a problem. The quarterback is saying it. Now my hope is that C.J. Stroud, I'm not at practice, but my hope is that he is now holding that line when he's in practice. If a wide receiver lollygags on a route or doesn't do something right, my hope is that the quarterback, not just the coaches, are the ones that are going to hit him for it. Also, new offensive coordinator. It's going to take a second. All right. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.